Now, it's been a roller coaster of emotions for the Clippers this week. Jamal Crawford joining us on the telephone here. Jamal, thanks for doing this. It's an annual tradition here. We do this every July 1st where you check in with us here. You go from losing Chris Paul, wondering what the plan is, to now signing Blake Griffin. What are you thinking now about the future of the Clippers?
Yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions. Obviously, you never want to see a player of Chris's caliber go anywhere, but it was weird because I woke up to 30 different messages, and it's like, Chris is gone to Houston. I'm like, what? Because I'm thinking if anything was going to happen, it would be, around this time. So to see how that kind of played out, you miss a guy like that, not only from his talent, but just being in the trenches with him, and that's really, really tough. But felt really good today. I was down there in L.A. to see Blake, and then to see, on the way back to be signed, and that was unbelievable, and that's a breath of fresh air for us. We really needed that jolt of energy.
Jamal, you've always been very open with us, addressing an issue that comes up time and time again with the Clippers, and that is the relationships each one of you have inside the locker room and ultimately on the court. You've obviously heard what's been said this week, some of the reports about maybe why Chris Paul left and the relationship he had with Doc Rivers. Did you ever sense that there was a fracture in the relationship with Chris Paul and Doc Rivers?
No, I didn't. I really didn't. And obviously, nobody's going to get along 24 hours a day. You don't get along with your wife or your brother or your kids 24 hours a day. So there's going to be, not seeing necessarily eye to eye on certain things, but nothing that would be like, oh, okay, this is not going to end well, So I think sometimes people are, and now in social media, if something is out there, it spreads like wildfire, So for us, you kind of lock in and know what's real and what's not.
All right, Jamal, I told everybody we got one more question here to go with you. And as we heard Daryl Morey talk about when he acquired your teammate about this weapons race here, do you guys feel, as currently constituted, that you are a part of the contending group of teams that have a shot here to go up against the Warriors next season?
Well, to be honest, we've got 4 or 5 new guys, so I can't say yes, because we haven't been through those trenches together. Chemistry is underrated, and you can't just say, okay, we're right there with the very best without playing a game together. So hopefully over the summer we get a chance to hang out with each other, gel together, work out together, and then going into the season, feel good about what we're doing and see where it goes from there.
All right, Jamal Crawford, we thank you for joining us here as the big news in Clipperland is that Blake Griffin is going to stick around. Guys, this is a guy who had his season ended early in the playoffs the last 2 years due to injury, only has missed 83 games due to injury the last 3 seasons. Giving this guy a 5-year deal, handing the keys to your franchise, right move by the Clippers?
Yeah, I think it's the right move, and obviously Blake, get that 5th year, and it shows that Ballmer and Doc believe in. You hit around the head. Excuse me. Every injury that Blake Griffin has had, he's come back better. So I'm not as concerned, Billy. I know you sitting there at Wolverine and say, well, if we get one of our best players a lot of money, is he going to stay healthy? But we always watch how does the guy respond and come back from those injuries. Blake has done an excellent job. I think the bigger question is, are you ready to be the leader? And I think that's what Chris Paul had been doing for the last 5 years. He was the guy in the locker room. He was the guy on the floor, late game situation. Everything went through him. Now everything is going through you, Blake, on the floor and off the floor. Are you ready for that leadership?
Well, that's the one thing. Chris Paul has been a leader, been the vocal leader of the whole team. Now by removing him, maybe some other guys step up. Maybe DeAndre decides they want to lead more. Maybe Blake says, hey, I am going to lead, because when a guy like Chris Paul's there, they may take a step back and don't want to step on any toes because he is the vocal leader. But I think it's a great move to sign him because he's a young talent. You get him on the contract, and now he's a tradable asset. If he walked away, they could not have replaced him. They'd have lost him for nothing. So by signing him, they have an asset under contract that if 2 years they need to trade him, they can because he is under contract. And I think by trading Chris Paul, they got a lot of other pieces. The one thing the Clippers lacked with all those contracts, it was depth. Right. But making that trade with Chris Paul, they got a lot of players for his contracts. Now they got a lot of pieces to fill out the roster.
Now, I like what Jamal said, that sometimes we don't give the chemistry with teams a lot of credit. And I think he understands now, no matter who you bring in, it's about getting guys on the same page and playing better basketball.